Noah James, this is Kismet. We're both May babies. You play,
Oh,
yeah, we're both Taurus. You play Saint Andrew the first called. Today is Saint Barnabas Day, the first of the 70 disciples that came to be out right after Pentecost, which we just celebrated. And this coming week, when the first two episodes of Chosen Season 5 drop on Amazon or on Prime Video, is the first day of the Apostles' Fast. So we've got all of theology covered just with this series right now and our own little personal gathering.
I love it. It seems like we were destined to meet like this then.
Yeah.
So, yes, great meeting you.
Great meeting you as well. Fifth season, incredible world following. This has revitalized so many people's either questioning of faith, spirituality, just wanting a wholesome show. It's got to be a complete departure from playing Barry over, over on Shameless to now being St. Andrew the first called.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when we first started, of course, we knew that with the story we're telling, there's so much attention the world over. And so we know that we want to do it justice. We want to tell the story the best way we possibly can. But really, when you start, you kind of have to let a lot of that go and just go, who am I? This is before we've even met Jesus back in season one. I'm a fisherman 2,000 years ago, Jewish fisherman in ancient Judea. And so you just start to go like that. And then when you kind of come up for air in between seasons, or when, we're about to launch on Prime Video in just a few days here, you go, oh, right. Like people the world over are watching this and following along with the journey with us. So it really is kind of surreal, to know how many people that it's affecting, know how many people it's reaching. You just kind of have to, I don't know, stand back in awe sometimes. I certainly do.
Right. I mean, you're playing a character, but you're also playing a historical figure. So there has
Hmm.
to be this balance of, this man had so much influence for a religion that spread across the world. No spoilers, St. Andrew does get crucified at some point because of his belief. In knowing that, in knowing the story of what is to come, but having to be in the moment of not there yet in the performance, how do you find the balance of we know where it's going, but I can't, show too much?
Oh, it's a great question. I think about that all the time because you do, in some ways, work backwards. You reverse engineer that. And so I think sometimes the trap might be, and in other representations of this story, you see these people as almost perfect, or because they are named saints after the fact, that it's like, I must be what, in some way saintly. And yet really, you look at it in season two. I have this speech at the campfire where I say, sometimes I look at myself from the outside and I just don't understand how I'm here. I don't feel like I could be a hero in my people's history. I don't feel like something extraordinary, and yet the path that we're on seems extraordinary. And so I think a lot of people relate to that. They go, "Oh, what would it be like if I was charged with following Jesus? If I had to, you know, pitch my own tents and not eat for days at a time and wander through the desert and be chased out of Jerusalem. How would I respond to that?" And it's only after the fact, it's only after the crucifixion, after the resurrection, that then we sort of come to know the disciples as they were closer to the end of their lives. And so you try to go, what lessons would they need to learn and how would they learn them? And you try to build that in through the years.
You know, the exciting part about, well, you know what? I didn't get a chance to ask Joey this, and I didn't ask Luke this, so I'm going to ask you.
Please.
Was Since you guys are playing fishermen who eventually become fisher of men, was the season one cast party going fishing?
No, we're not very outdoorsy, us actors. We leave that to the crew. We're always like, does someone have my oat milk latte and my umbrella? Or I'll just speak for myself. That's me. Gotta wear that sunscreen. Fishing's not something that we do very often or ever. No, backstage we're like playing video games. I'm like in my trailer making music. That's kind of like or we're just talking about TV shows and movies. So I think if I remember correctly, our season 1 wrap party was at an arcade of all places, you know?
Fitting. Yeah.
Yes.
With season 5, we know at the end of season 4, it's heading into Palm Sunday.
Mhm.
And, this is Jesus coming into Jerusalem for what he knows is about to happen. And the apostles have an inclination of what's going to happen, but aren't quite sure. Because they believe, but, he keeps chastising them for not being as faithful as they possibly can. When you now sit down and become an audience member instead of being a participant, what is it like to not, judging yourself on your side and like, I can't believe my hair was parted that way. My sandals were a little too tight in the scene or whatever. But being now an audience member and watching it back, what is your reaction to something like this that's so powerful and meaning to people?
Well, I think what's important for us to bring to life as the disciple part of the story is everyone kind of looks and they see it from 2000 years later. They see it from the perspective of you kind of know the end of the story. So you think, how could anyone doubt? How could anyone not trust in what Jesus is saying then? Because you also know the end of the story doesn't end with the crucifixion. We don't know any of that. And I think that if you really put yourselves in those shoes, you start to realize that the ramifications of what's to come seem almost insurmountable. It seems like the darkest horizon you could ever think of. And so for us, we really don't want to get ahead of ourselves so that hopefully the audience can feel that anxiety, that trepidation, that fear of what's to come. Because really, if you were to look at it without these 2,000 years of history since, it would be among the darkest things that you could ever experience as a human being. And we don't want to shy away from that.
I dig it. Noah, where can we find you on social media if we want to keep the conversation going about The Chosen Season 5 Last Supper?
Oh, hang out on Instagram at James_Noah James on there. I'll be like watching along. We're out on Prime Video June 15th, and then more episodes every week after that, every Sunday after that. And then internationally, July 13th. So the world over, we'll be having little watch parties, I think.
St. Andrew the First called on St. Barnabas Day, the first of the 70 apostles or disciples. Here we are. It's a big deal. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.